Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just sitting here checking my mic. Got a Dutch apple pie in the oven for Thanksgiving tomorrow. I wanted to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. The last video I made for Truth Is was episode 7, and I was discussing the infiltration of the United States by certain radical entities, you might want to call them. The thing is I'm not going to sit here and say that everyone is the same, but the point is that when the status quo changes, and if there's only one here now, and 15 of his buddies arrive later, and they're all radical, he's not. He's going to do exactly everything they tell him to do. So it won't matter if he's not radical. He will be, or he'll be on their short list. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I wanted to go back into this because a lot of people are conflating racism with Islamophobia, which is a fear. Just so you know, phobia means fear of something, right? Nice how y'all take things and turn one thing into something else. But anyway, let's get into this. Welcome back. The truth is, this is episode 8, and I'm going to title this episode, It's Not Racism. Okay, the reason for that. Look, I grew up in the neighborhoods. I grew up as a kid. I was poor. I lived in the neighborhoods. I know how it was. Okay. I've got pictures of friends of mine who were black. I didn't have anything against black people. I didn't have anything specifically against black people. I have family who is black. I have nieces and I have cousins who are black. I don't look at them and say, "Oh, well, you're not my family. You're not the right color. Sorry." No, I don't do that. My family is my family, and they're my family regardless of the shade of their skin. Okay. So this whole thing that gets perpetuated has been part of our problem. That's opening the door, and just like I said, it's allowing Muslims to come in because they're coming in under the banner of the racism that you're crying about. Something that happened with people who are dead, gone. Okay, the people who had slaves are all dead. There were black and white alike. There were black people who owned slaves, white people who owned slaves, but they're all dead. Okay. We came to this country. You can say what you want about white people colonized, whatever. You know what? Every country in this world has had strife, have had people come in and take over and enslave the people who were there until they fought back and they won. See? The United States, there's so many of us here. Look at me. You think I'm white. I'm Native American, Hebrew, Egyptian. I got all kinds of Native American. So I got all kinds of white, and I got all kinds of Native American. So several tribes. Okay, I've got all kinds of white, but I also have Hebrew, Egyptian, and Chinese. Okay, So you're going to assume that I'm white, so I must be punished with all white people. Well, first off, there's a big problem with punishing white people to begin with. Okay, first off, slavery, what was 1860 when it was ended? 1860 something. Um, the first slaves that came to this country was 100 white Irish children. It was a good, I think, 6 months. I think they said till the first black slaves arrived here. Okay. Now, again, I'm not going to get into what happened to you. I'm not downplaying what happened to you. Well, it's terrible, you know. Nobody, I don't, again, and here's where I had to correct this thing here because you think that I'm like this right wing guy, that I hate you and I want bad things to happen to you, and that's just not true. I don't want anything bad to happen to anyone. I don't care for people who want to come over here and kill me for my religion because I believe in God, whose son was Jesus, So I don't want somebody coming over here from Afghanistan or Assyria who wants to kill me because they believe in Allah and I don't. That's the thing. that's the thing about the moderate. I mean, even Marco Polo said it. So you have to think about where we're at right now. Okay, where were we at 20 years ago? When I was 20 years ago, I was hanging around with all my black friends. We had no issues whatsoever. None. I could name their names. I know, Bryant Ice, one of my friends. Ernie Too Good, Joe Rose, Maurice Sanders. Got a bunch of black friends. You know what? You know how I held that against them? I didn't. Did I treat them any different? No, because they're still human beings, just like me. Just a different skin. That's all. Different hair, different skin. Just depends on whatever your genes do. But that happens to white people. I mean, there's white people with wiry hair. There's white people with rough skin. There's white people who have dark skin for white people. But it doesn't matter. It's just, look, we all just have to realize that the people who are trying to get us to kill each other are the same people who did what they did to you. It's the same people, just 100 years later, 200 years later. It's the same people, okay? They own the banks then, they own the banks now, and they're paying you, some of you, I'm not saying all of you, some of you, they're paying you to attack us to destroy yourself and allow us to destroy yourself. So we'll stand back and let you destroy yourself. But the problem is it takes our whole country down. It takes us all with you. You know what I mean? I'm like everybody else. I'm not going to just stand by at the end if it comes down to it. And that's just the way it is. I'm not going to stand by and watch our country be destroyed by people who don't even understand what this country is about. First off, as being almost a third Native American, I'm actually proud of my country and what it's done. I know it's made mistakes. I know both parties have made mistakes. But let me end that here because democracy, if you read what the founding fathers were into, Thomas Paine has 2 books, Common Sense, Rights of Man, his 2 books. Read through some of the history books and then the Federalist Papers, you begin to understand that they absolutely loathed democracy. They wanted nothing to do with it. They wanted our elections to be in a democratic manner. Our elections only. Nothing else. So all these people who keep running around, this is destroying our democracy. You can't find the word democracy in any of the founding documents. Why do you all keep saying democracy? It's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic that allowed you the freedom. Let's just get an idea. You go in your kitchen one night and you're whipping up some mashed potatoes and you do something and some great new product comes out of your kitchen and you want to go, you know what, I want to go sell this, You go sell it. And then somebody comes along and says, I think you don't deserve that, so we're going to take all your money from you. That's what socialism is. Again, I'm going to get into this because I know we're talking about racism, which to me, in my opinion, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be honest, like I said, I love my family, all of them, no matter what color they are. And then for you to sit and say, because I've lived all over this country, I've known people all over this country. I was a mobile DJ, so I met a lot of people. You know, I had people from every walk of life that came up and talked to me. So in my life, I met one truly racist person, and that was in Georgia. Believe it or not, over in 1980. So you're talking 40, 50 years ago. 40, 30 years ago, 1980. So, and he was an idiot. So I mean, it wasn't like the world was losing something there. I mean, he was an idiot. Okay. Again, white people don't hate you. If you want to just keep saying this, saying it, and say it to yourself, you're a racist because you're denying it. Give me a headache. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not. I don't care what color you are, bro. What I want to see happen in this country, and take this to the bank, is I want to see every person have the opportunity. Because I'm going to tell you something, brother. I started out, my parents divorced when I was young. We had a very, very tough childhood. I went from school to school. They started the busing. I was here. I was there. I was everywhere. My mom and dad were separated. We went back and forth. There was times I lived next to the projects, and I was poorer than the kids who lived in the projects. I literally went to bed some nights without dinner because somehow my mom had this knack for falling through every crack. If there was a crack in the system, she found it and fell through it. And there were times that we could not get help. And we were like going to bed hungry. And the kids next door in the projects, they had a roof over their head, and they didn't have to take their rent money and then go buy food with it because their housing was paid for. So you want to talk to me about privilege? You know what? You can stick it. And I'm not even going to play with you on that. You can stick it right where the sun doesn't shine, because I've never seen privilege in my life. Me and my friends had times when we were threatened by cops too. Again, and just like in the last one I told you, I was trying to express how you being the way you're being, you're allowing this doorway to open where they're going to say, oh, well, we can't deny people entry because they're brown skin or because they're this or that. You're letting terrorists into this country in the name of racism, and they're raining on your racism because those same people, they don't give a shit about you. And all the gay people's taking up for them. That's even funnier. Where do they get them close to a building? They'll go up and off. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just joking. They'll throw them off a building. They don't tolerate other races. They don't tolerate. It's not other races. Sorry, they don't tolerate other religions. Let me correct that. They don't tolerate Buddhism, Sikhism, Hinduism. Hare Krishnas, they don't. Now, see, all those people live here in the United States peacefully. You didn't have Christians running around killing Hare Krishnas. Did you ever hear that? I ain't never heard of it. Did that happen? When they from what I gather, part of the McCarran-Walters Act was repealed back in 1990. Not the whole thing, or just part of it. They just denied that it happened. You got your fact checker saying, "Oh, it didn't happen. This didn't happen. That didn't happen." But how come then it was then that you all of a sudden had this influx of not just Hindu or Indian people, but also the Muslims started coming in? Okay, and then it's like, look, man, you look at Dearborn, Michigan. We got some problems to deal with in this country. And that's again, I'm I'm not, again, as I'll show you. See, it's not about race. It's not about race. It's about a set of ideas. Okay, look, and again, I know I'm talking about racism again, and now I'm getting. This is exactly why I did two videos, because in the last one I was talking about this immigration and we're being infiltrated by Muslims, but they're using the guise of racism to call everybody racist who don't want them coming in here. It's not about race. It never was. It's the fact that, and I'm telling you, you're not going to be excused either. If you don't like Allah, if you don't accept Allah as your God, you are an infidel. And eventually, in the right circumstances, they would kill you. Just at the end of the story. Because that's their base of their religion, the whole thing. Sorry, I had to get the Dutch apple pie out of the oven, and I ran out of memory, so I had to. I'm gonna have probably to cut this video a little short, but the point I was making when I cut off was that we were getting along fine 20-something years ago. We were getting through a lot of these problems. I grew up, like I said, some of my best friends were black people, JoJo and Tara Kelly Payne, and I can go on and on. I grew up with a lot of black friends. So this whole thing about whites, I'm sorry, you don't know history, first off, so let me get this out of the way. Now you can see 95% of white people who were alive in the 1860s did not own slaves. That's 95.6. That's like, you look at it at 100%. That's pretty close to 100%. I mean, there's 4.6% people who own slaves, and some of those were black people who owned slaves, and that's a fact. You can refute it or get mad over it. There were white slaves. As a matter of fact, the first person who sued the state of Virginia for the right to be recognized as having slaves was a black man named Anthony Johnson. And I often have to correct that meme online because there's people who are posting a picture of Lewis Hayden instead of Anthony Johnson. And I say, well, no, they didn't have cameras when Anthony Johnson was alive. So there's only a drawing of him, actually. And the picture they keep posting is Lewis Hayden, who fought against, he helped the Underground Railroad. So he was actually against slavery and trying to fight it for people to get free, fighting for indentured slaves. But nonetheless, there's no reason for us to be like this. I mean, really, there isn't. It's just you're letting people tell you something that's just not true. You hate Donald Trump. He didn't do anything to you. I name something he did to you. Okay, if you want to really look at somebody who did something to you in your face, but made it look like something good, is LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson. He said, okay, Mama, you take the kids and kick the guy out of the house, and then we're going to give you more money. That was a death blow to the family, the black family, and it didn't. No, it wasn't just the black families. See, that very kind of thing hurt my family and me when I was a kid. So it's easier to go after the father. If you're going to help the family, well, then why not help the father too? It didn't make sense. See, you didn't think about all that. And you went ahead and said, okay, sure, let's go with it. Vote Democrat. Malcolm X tried to warn you about that. And then the very thing that he said, Lyndon Baines Johnson said after they passed the Equal Rights Amendment, the Republicans passed the Equal Rights Amendment. The Republicans passed every major bill to give slaves freedom, to give them equality, and to give them the right to vote, all given by Republicans. then Obama gave you health care. Okay, free health care. Well, guess what? The price of health care has gone so high. I was working a job and became disabled right when it all started. And I know you don't care, and that's okay if you don't care. That's fine. Um, I became disabled, and they started fining me because I didn't have insurance. I lost my job, became disabled, and they were fining me because I lost my job and couldn't afford health care. What happened to, now, for me to buy insurance, I had to get into my 401k that I had from my job that I lost. Okay? They wanted, at the rate me and my wife were making money, they wanted $2,400 per month from me and my wife for our insurance to keep us insured. So for a while, I was paying that out of my 401k. Didn't last very long. My 401k was gone. So, like I said, there's no such thing as privilege. It's, you know what there is? There's class privilege. There's people who are rich who get treated differently. We don't. Nobody at the bottom gets treated differently. So I don't know where you get that in your head that it's not all white people. Again, like I said, 95.4% of white families never owned slaves. And then after slavery ended, millions of families came here. Whites, yellow, black, green, every color there is. So sorry, I don't know anybody green, but you know what I'm saying. But it's the point. We've had every race come here since. And again, you know, there's another little issue here. And again, we're talking about racism, so I'm going to try to stay off the Muslim thing but that was the point with the last, because you are crossing those two things up. So why I keep ending up back here again. 2 decades or more later, after slavery ended here in the United States, they were still capturing, the Barbary pirates were still capturing American ships and taking white Irish men and white people as slaves and selling them in the Ottoman Empire after slavery ended here. So again, America was the only country in the world that ever actually fought a war to end slavery, and you still have slavery going on overseas, and you're not saying anything about that. None of that. You know what? Like I said, most Americans are now, we're all mixed with something. You know, we're not just white or just black anymore. You're something. I mean, how many of us have Native American? I meet a lot of black people that have Native American too. Like, shit. We're all like a big family. We're related now, and y'all are like wanting to kill each other. It doesn't make sense. Look. For all the stuff I've been trying to say, you take what LBJ did. Take what he did was revamp the New Deal, which was Franklin Roosevelt's idea. FDR did the New Deal. Okay, so basically it kind of enslaved you to this easy money. You see what I mean? You're enslaved to this easy money. Okay, that's what it is, because it makes it easier. You don't have to do anything, get paid, you know. You don't get anywhere, you know. That's the thing. You don't get anywhere. The thing I've been trying to say is this. If they would have took that money, instead of giving you a fish, had taught you to fish, and they taught your kids how to fish, and your kids' and your kids after, you know, just think for a minute. I'm not telling you have to go work in a glass factory, or I'm saying you can do whatever you want to do. You could be a fireman if that's what you like, or a painter if that's what you like, or whatever you like. But here's the thing. When you learn to do those things, that doesn't have to be the only thing you learn how to do. Because what happens to kids most often, they go to college, they take a degree in something, they get out, and there's nobody hiring in that profession, and they wasted all that money and got a degree that's useless. So the point is I think it'd be wiser if we taught people to be more, you know, like, what's his name? Who, remember, he used to take the roll of tape and he could make MacGyver. Teach kids multiple skills. See, that you can find things that you like to do and do those, and do the things that make you happy. Of course, if you're bad at something, you're not going to be able to keep doing it if you're bad at it unless you improve on that. But you can always improve on things. That's one thing. I'm a polymath, so I could do anything just about. But it's a point. This whole racism thing has gone too far. We're not racist. Most of the people who are racist are gone. Like I said, last one I met was in 1980. He wasn't even my friend. He's just somebody I knew in the neighborhood. So, this racism thing, we need to close the door on it. And it's not going to be closing the door on it if you keep talking about it, making it, firing the fire up again. You don't understand. You're throwing wood in the fire. You're not just saying, okay, forget it. Let's move on. Let's just move on from it. That's what you got to do. You can't keep, if you keep harping on something, you're just going to keep blowing it back up again. And it's not ending that way. That's not the way it's going to end. Most of us have long been past that. I don't look at people and go, oh, hi, Mr. Fred Black Guy. I'm hi, Fred. How you doing? We're just people. I mean, there's no reason to even recognize there's a difference in us. There's not. Just a skin color. It doesn't mean anything. It's a skin color. It's just like the Blue Jays and the Bluebirds and the Cardinals. Nobody says anything to the Cardinal, because he dates another Cardinal. You know what I'm saying? I think Muhammad Ali said something about this. Alligators breed with alligators. Cardinals breed with cardinals. Bluebirds. I mean, we can't tell a bluebird to go mate with a redbird, and we need purple birds, just to consider the fact that also what you're not thinking about is that you want to create one thing out of two, but you're going to destroy two things to make that one. You see what I'm saying? And again, it's not about the race. It's every nationality, every one of us have our culture and our thing, and it's not right for any one culture to destroy another culture, even in the name to make, we need to make all one big, okay, we're not in the business of making goulash here. You know what I mean? That's not the point of life. We don't have to mix everything up. The old saying about God making wondrous beauty. God made all this wondrous beauty to be enjoyed. God created the rainbow, and I'm not even going to go into that because somebody's using the wrong thing, because I think you don't believe in God, you're going to play with the wrong thing, and you're going to find out the hard way. So, and I'm not going to tell you, because you're going to find out. You're going to find out. Take that from somebody who knows. And I know. Look, it's not, we were all friends, man. Why can't we just get past all that and get back to normal? And you know what? It's not just that. At this point, the people who have pushed you this far, they were willing to push you to the point where you die. You understand that? They don't care, right? They would really push you to the point where you're going to face the odds of you, not just, I'm not even talking about the pandemic, all that. I'm talking about them trying to push a civil war, and they are trying to do that. Look, man, There's people like, I'm just saying, like, I've met some wild armed, like, I mean, really good people, but I mean, they're not gonna just, you're gonna have a harder time if you think you're gonna go and just helter skelter on the white people. It's not gonna happen so easy, and it's not gonna turn out as well for you as you think. Um, and I'm not being mean. I'm just saying there's a lot more mean white people than you think. And I don't mean mean in a bad way. I'm just saying they're not going to take so much shit off of you, They're going to turn around and they're going to start fighting back. And that's the thing. And it's the point of that, we have as much right to live here and exist here as you do. And at the end of the day, I mean, what you do in life is your business at the point that it doesn't affect anyone else. Everything you do in your life is your business until you try to make it affect someone else. You see, because your rights end exactly where mine begin. And this is where I keep trying to explain to people. I don't have the right to interfere in your life. Okay? And all this, y'all keep seeing systemic racism. I mean, look at this thing here. I mean, you think about that. Y'all keep saying this privilege exists. It doesn't. It doesn't exist. And again, Thomas Sowell said that whenever you get used to preferential treatment, then equal treatment seems like discrimination. Because you think that you're not being treated the same anymore, that now you're being discriminated against. Because really the truth is, they went so far to make up to you. I mean, I don't know what happened with the 40 mules and 40 acres thing. I don't really care. I'm not saying, because my family, personally, my family came from France to Canada. From Canada, we came to the United States of America, and we were in the Union Army fighting against slavery. We fought against it. So again, that whole 95.4% of the people did not own slaves. Then there was people who fought to free you. Then hundreds of millions of families of all colors, race, white, black, yellow, whatever, all came over here from Europe and elsewhere afterwards, who never had anything to do with slavery. And you're gonna blame them too? I mean, you can't blame white people for slavery. First off, the black people were selling what was that tribe? Look, this is what I couldn't understand, is when Nancy Pelosi knelt down with that belt thing on she had on, that African tribe. That was the tribe that took in the most slaves. So I don't know why she was wearing that belt. This didn't make any sense to me, because she was supposed to be bound to you, but she was bound to the family that took the most slaves. Isn't that crazy? There's something wrong with that. Then it was the Spanish and the Portuguese who were hauling them around everywhere, until the Ottomans really started getting where they could get around on the ocean, sea, building ships, stealing ships, whatever, building them. I don't know how many kind of ships they built, but I'm just saying I'm sure they took plenty too. So there was a lot of stories about that. But and then Thomas Jefferson went to war against them. And the point is we're like a big family here. There's no reason for us to be fighting. And all this time, like I said, if we ever get to the point where we could take all that money and start helping people build businesses here, that are living here, that grew up here, that that's what America is now. If we can all, let's just say, for instance, you like making steel parts, steel door handles, and I'm working over here making doors. I might buy some of your door handles for my. You see what I'm saying? I know that's it's just a point that we all could build a better America. We could build it better. And if we all worked and did things we like to do, not what we were being told to do by anybody else, but we were making that money making the things we enjoy to do. I think this world would be a lot better off if we didn't have that sort of mentality that they need more workers and less thinkers, that whole, it's stupid. Um, because I think the real reason why there isn't more thinkers is because of the way our education system has been set up. Um, I can nearly prove that to you because I almost fell through the cracks. But see, I went back to school on my own and studied on my own. I made use of the libraries and the books and you gotta read and you gotta learn for yourself, or you're gonna be stuck in this rut for a long time. Again, I'm gonna end this video here, but I want y'all to think about that because we're not that different. I mean, really, we're not. I mean, it's just really superficial. It is. The differences in us are superficial. I think about the same thing with men and women, but I'm not going to segue into that problems that men and women are having these days. And a lot of it, again, goes back to the same system. We're having problems with this government, the way LBJ did put men into bottom. So that's another discussion anyway, which I kind of mentioned. And I actually had one video where I kind of talked about that a little bit, but men really get the short end of the stick in this country because no matter, I know some of y'all can get mad at me and say whatever you want, but if a man gets a woman pregnant, he cannot say you can't have it. If a man gets a woman pregnant and says I want to keep it, and she said no, I don't want to keep it, he can't make her keep it. So a man just really doesn't have a say at all. And they act like that we're the ones who are making everything hard and dating's easy for us. No, none of that's true. None of it. I went through a little period where I can say I was not really a player, but I didn't settle down. I mean, I dated a lot of different girls, and I never led any of them on because I never rolled like that. I never said, hey, it's just me and you, and then go out and mess with somebody else. No, I didn't do that. If I was with you and I told you I was with you, I was with you, But it's the point of, we all make mistakes. In the end of the day, we are all in the same country. We're all in the same boat. Nobody has any more privilege than anybody right now, especially as poor people. Maybe some of these politicians you've been listening to, they got nice fenced in yards. You know what I got to do? I got to sell my home that me and my wife bought before she died. I got to sell it because I can't afford to keep it anymore because I've been fighting for Social Security for 3 years now. But if you're an illegal, you can come right in and get it, no problem. But I've been fighting for 3 years. I'm disabled. My knees have chondrosis in them. So, and I have asthma in my lungs. So, anyway, it's the point. My whole story gets really bad. I'm going to tell you, there's no such thing as privilege. If I told you my story, you would be like, there's no way all that's happened to you, and I can prove it has. Not to mention I've lost 28 people now since 2020, since August of 2020, including my wife. So, again, we're all in this boat together. It's what our country's doing to us. It's not the people, it's the government, man. And you're taking it out on the wrong people. You're taking it out on the wrong people if you're taking it out on the people instead of the government, because they're the ones doing it all. They're doing it all to you, and you think it's us. No, it's not us. they're afraid that not some people like me are going to tell you about them, you know, and make you realize it's been them all this time. So you need to wake up and realize that you're being misled. Okay, all that racism, it's almost dead. It probably came back more after Obama started all the BLM stuff, because y'all denied that too. But that started, after the riots, George Floyd riots and all that. Trump wasn't president when BLM was formed. Okay, so y'all try to blame a lot of stuff on him that he didn't do. So again, I don't know why you hate the man. He didn't do nothing to you. I don't know any of you he's done anything to. No, but none of you have ever been on to answer that question. But anyway, the racism is not. It's not. It doesn't exist like that, man. If there's any favoritism, it's with the higher ups. The people who got the money. Class racism maybe, but there's no racism here. Not like that. I mean, I'm not saying there's not a few probably running around somewhere like that guy back in Georgia in 1980, but again, I haven't seen them. I don't know, and y'all pull out some tapes every now and then of somebody like, I'm going, where was that at? I don't know where there's any marching around me, and I've never seen them. I apologize. I was going to finish this the night before Thanksgiving, and I messed around and then didn't have time after that. So it's a couple nights later now, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish it up. Look, I just wanted to add to this to the point that, in the end, we're all human beings, and it comes down to we all have a place in this earth, in this life, and that's why God gave us that life, And I don't think God created two kinds and said, "Here, I want you to hate this other one and kill him." I don't think God would do that, And again, as I said earlier in the video, God created a wondrous variety, is the word I didn't use. I said beauty, but it's still. There's beauty in everything. Again, you can't judge one race from another. And again, like I said, with those other people, the ones who want to kill us before our religion, that's their problem. See, but they don't belong somewhere, because they will kill you, me, him, her, everybody in the neighborhood if you're not what they are. And that's fundamentally wrong. And again, I'm tired of people conflating Islamophobia with racism, because they're not the same thing. And there aren't as many racist people in this country as you think there are. And again, there's people, white, brown, black, every color, who are Muslims, and they literally hate every other religion. I'm just not saying this for the Christians. I'm saying it for the Buddhists, for the Sikhs. They kill everybody who's not them. Everybody is an infidel unless you're one of them. So it's just a simple point, I'm not trying to zero them out. I don't want them here because they want to kill all of us, including you. Unless you're one of them, and then I don't care what you think. The fact of the matter is, that's in their Bible. Whether, again, you want to sit and complain, that say that, well, they don't all believe that, but when their friends get here, they will have no choice. It's like that, the status quo changes. Like I said, if there's one of you who's a Muslim who doesn't believe in violence, and 15 of your friends come, you're going to imbibe in the same things they are, or you're going to be on their short list. Again, I'm going to say it again, and I'll keep repeating it until people listen. This isn't about racism between blacks and whites. Again, all of us are we're like intermixed with the Indian, Native Americans here. I've got all kinds in me, man. You wouldn't believe it. But, I mean, and then other races that came over from overseas, and we have all kinds of stuff in us here, man. I mean, I got Chinese in me, for God's sake. I mean, you understand that we're all like human beings here. It's not just these differences are are being made up in people's minds. Like Islam makes it up about you, because if you're not them, you're infidel. Then they want to kill you. I don't want to live like that, and I don't want them here. If they want to live like that, they need to reform their Bible, just like the Christian Bible was reformed. You know, it's not anybody's right to go kill somebody else over their what they believe. And even, and again, it all changes whenever somebody believes something and then it affects you. See, when it starts affecting you, then you notice it. See, and that's, again, it's not about racism. Like I said, all of us in America, practically family. You could probably go through every bloodline in this country and find out where it's connected at. I swear. Y'all want to kill each other. Whatever. I'm not going to keep arguing about it. To all the rest of y'all, I hope y'all had a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a happy New Year. I'm sure I'll be dropping other videos before then. But anyway, y'all take care of yourself, and good night.